Well, dears, those of you that know me will be used to the fact that I rather like to start these sessions with being deeply silent and still. Now, I wonder why. Because I found that that's where I feel safest, most safe and sure, and confident, really, for whatever may happen or not tonight. I come back to my anchor, as it were, in silence and stillness, which are really the same thing, aren't they? Silent and still. That which doesn't change. While all the performance goes on around us, this silence, like a background, remains constant. That may seem a bit strange to some of you, but it's something I've practiced for many years, and it really is real. One's only just got to look out the window on a night like this to consider that lovely grey sky there, without a ripple, without any movement, just constant. And the traffic on the road, I can see in the distance, is moving without disturbing it at all, isn't it? There's hardly any wind, but what there is also contained within this, as it were, blanket of silence and stillness. And I've also discovered over the years that whatever is going to come out of me, whether it's worth hearing or not, is always somehow better if it arises out of this depth of silent stillness. Strange, isn't it? If it arises out of my rather sort of nervous mind, it somehow never as sort of rings quite true. So if you find I'm just sort of gone quiet, as I don't know what to say next, that will be correct, but out of the silence, miraculously, often arises something which surprises me as much as it may surprise you, spontaneously, without any conception arising from me. Strange, isn't it? They're sort of like two ways in which we function in life. Probably mostly these days we function from conception, from human conception, from thought. I think something, or I've studied something, or I've learned something. I mean, conceptual thinking, conceptual life. Our whole life around us is pretty much conceptual, isn't it? This whole apparatus of camera and recording my voice is a human invention, isn't it? Well, and then there's this other way of what really man's doing. It arises in spite of us. How does it happen, we ask afterwards? Where does it come from? How does peace arise in our hearts? What makes us feel at peace? Or come to rest? Extraordinary, isn't it? Just arises, doesn't it, as itself, out of itself. Or beauty. Gentleness. Naturalness. Comfort. Lots of nice things, really. Can't really define them, don't quite know. We all long for them and want them often. And then they're just there. Meaning. What gives meaning to existence? What's the point of existence? Came to me this afternoon. There's words of Jesus, I think, in the Gospel according to St. Thomas. Know what is in thy sight, and what is hidden will be revealed unto thee. Know what is in thy sight, and what is hidden will be revealed unto thee. Revealed revelation, yes. Where does real knowledge come from? That deep sort of gut knowledge. Doesn't really come from books, does it? Come from going to clever people. It's not a human conception, is it? It arises, as it were, from this intangible, indescribable, which I refer to first of all as silence. Know what is in thy sight, and what is hidden will be revealed to us. And what's in our sight, but just here now, what's in our sight? The marvellous way that little table is standing on one leg. How does it do that? Stood there patiently for 200 years, patiently bearing its little burden. Your feet around me. Marvellous little things, aren't they? Quite wonderful, aren't they? How do they work? Jesus also says that every hair of our head is numbered, doesn't he? Every hair of our body is extraordinary. So full of wonderful things life is, isn't it? It's a funny thing, isn't it? The more still, the stiller we are, the more we see, don't we? Have you noticed that? It's extraordinary how the difference between observing something with a quiet mind, if you're ever lucky enough to know what it is to have a quiet mind, it's quite unusual these days, isn't it? But how much more is revealed, isn't it? It's just revealed. You see it. You see what you didn't see before. How much we go through life without seeing. We have eyes and we see not. See what's in front of our noses. It's so easy to look for some substitute creation in photographs or video or something and just miss what's in front of our noses. How seldom we actually look at each other. I wonder if we've ever seen another person. Do you know what I mean? Hmm? Have you ever actually seen anybody? Really seen them? Maybe once in a lifetime experience, if you're lucky. The latent depth, the infinite. I remember it happening to me when I was 47, looking into the eyes of a woman and seeing what I described as the infinite beyond. I'd never seen that before. It changed my life. Now I see it more often. Well, it's probably not in the same degree because I'm more used to it now. But when we look deep into each other's eyes, really deep, stillness is the key. Deep into the still depth, behind the blinking and the not knowing quite what to do, into the infinite depths that are revealed. The light that lighteth every man. And then you rather forget about the rest of the person, don't you? It's almost as though the frame of a person is sort of dissolved into the light. Amazing, isn't it? What is a person then? Am I this aging body, one foot in the grave? Well, you're not. Well, you're all much younger than me, but one or two of you are on the way. What can we take with us beyond the grave? Good question, isn't it? What's meant by salvation of the soul? Extraordinary, isn't it, how these things begin to make sense, don't they, when we're just here present? Just arises out of common sense, doesn't it? Just looking, just listening. We behold the wonder of the wonderful. Where does it end, my dear?
I'm not sure it ever ends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it ever ends.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
I think our soul is for eternity.
Sorry, dear.
I
don't hear very well.
I feel our souls are for eternity.
Yes, well, so wise men have always considered when the soul was generally discussed as it used to be. It isn't now, is it? We've sort of forgotten about it. Children are not even taught about it, are they?
No.
But actually, as we just see for ourselves, it's obvious, isn't it? So simple, isn't it? So simple. We just stop talking for a few minutes and just listen and look, come back to common sense. There it is in front of our noses. There's the manifest and the unmanifest, the body, the mind, and spirit. Plain as pudding, isn't it? Mortality, immortality.
Form and formless.
Hmm?
Form and formless.
Form and formless. No, exactly. And see, both are present, aren't they?
Yes.
It's easy, isn't it? Isn't this library full of words and ideas? Look at all these, the work of man, and it all takes place in the formless, doesn't it? All this forms the performance of what we call life, which is sort of life, isn't it? A sort of limited life, bound by time and space. in which we are limited by form, and the formless, unlimited, the infinite. That might be freedom, isn't it?
Yeah.
How about freedom? I love the old song, "Don't Fence Me In," as a young man. And have you all heard that lovely song? It was an old, well, it was, I forget where it came from, but it was sung by one of these sort of pseudo-cowboys, but very attractive singers called Roy Rogers, who had a horse called Trigger. And he used to sing this song. If I wasn't so shy, I'd sing it to you. Don't fence me in. It's been well, not quite my motto, but I've loved it all my life. You're first hearing it as a schoolboy. I think it absolutely describes this longing for, don't fence me in, this longing for the big stuff, not content with this little world and all the things we're expected to do in it. Adventure that never ends. The love that never says no. That's what the heart longs for, isn't it? The big things, the real things, the point. Yes, of course, the real things never end, do they? How can they end? How can reality ever end? If something dies, my dears, it's not it. It may serve a purpose for a while, but there's always beyond. Find the never-ending. That's what lights me up these days. It's so obvious, look, all this, the mortality, all the corruption is dying out. Yeah. And this becomes ever more obvious. I've never been more alive at the point of death. Marvellous. Indeed, how could we have guessed that half an hour ago when we started talking we would end up like this? God knows. God knows, and I do not. Well, here I am at an impasse, dear. So if any of you can prompt me or suggest a new question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So since I found this place of the infinite, it almost feels like when I'm not connected with that, it almost feels like when I forget that or I go into the busyness of life, it almost feels, this might not be true, but it almost feels more painful, you know, to not be connected with that.
Exactly,
and
dear.
in alignment with that, or be resting in that.
Yes.
And could you talk a bit to, like, you know, practice about sitting in silence and about, you know, a householder, a mother, or, you know, as someone contributing to life and practice?
Yes, dear, I could indeed. And indeed, the more you get a taste of, I like the way you describe it as this, I like that word too, this, because it's so present, isn't it? The this, which you can't actually add anything to the this, because once you start describing it, you fall back into what's called duality, which is separation, whereas this is undivided, isn't it? You can't cut it up into little bits, call it this or that. So, indeed, once you get a taste of this, all this fragmented, separated world, everything at odds with everything else, killing and eating each other, becomes intolerable. Because indeed, it is intolerable, dear. because this is absence from paradise where we belong. Man has fallen in consciousness to a lower state of consciousness, and hence what we call the world with all its troubles. Why? Because we are, in the good old-fashioned word, sinners. Sin means absence from paradise, absence from God. When we come into the present, you draw nearer what's called the presence of God, which is this. And then things begin to coalesce, come together. We feel this peace, we feel this validity, the reality of this. And in contrast, this becomes, you begin to understand the meaning of sin and the works of darkness, where the blind lead the blind. That's the nature of this world. So how do we cope with ordinary daily functioning? Well, I was lucky enough to find my way to a thing called the School of Meditation when I was 26 years old and getting interested in these questions. And we were given many exercises, and one of them was to simply pay attention to what we were doing. I was a farmer then. I was working with my hands in the fields all day long, often with a hoe in the soil. And if you just watch, look, if I just turn around and pick up this book and do it carefully with attention, the whole thing becomes quite miraculously meaningful. The action itself becomes, good heavens, you suddenly notice what you're doing. The difference between doing it, as it were, asleep, oh, just pick up a book, or doing it consciously, it's as different as chalk and cheese, isn't it? Or just going to the toilet, or washing your hands, or putting something in your mouth and chewing it. Everything can serve as practice. Do it with attention. Now, the more you do that, well, a whole string of revelations will arise. There are some things you love do, like, well, your baby is no longer a baby, is she? But combing her hair, for example. I'm sure you do that with more attention than you do, things you're not so interested in. When you're with your ponies, because what we love, usually, we do it with more attention, don't we? But it's extraordinary how anything, do you know, as a young man, being lucky enough to be a countryman, I thought nothing of London. But I had to go to London to attend this school. I remember on one occasion, I was walking late at night near the Westminster rubbish carts where all the dust, rubbish lorries were kept. And it was a wet night, and I saw a cigarette packet just trodden into the dirt. I think a lorry had gone over it and squashed it onto the pavement. Do you know, that cigarette packet became one of the great lessons of my life. I saw it quite radiant with beauty. And what a lesson to a proud young man who thought, townies were not, they were lost. To be shown such a thing on a winter night. I became more respectful of rubbish after that. So just if you're interested in this work, what I call work with a capital W, really, just pay attention. Work with attention. I was lucky. I was a farmer. I loved the land. It was natural. But even loving it as I did, I began to discover even greater aspects of love. What it really is. Like caressing the soil every time I move through it, looking ever deeper into the heart of soil, feeling the life in it, became alive. Amazing what can happen when you just look and see what's in front of you. You don't have to go off to, to India or somewhere to find wonderful things. It's right before us. Look at those words, know what is in your sight and what is hidden will be revealed. Just look at what's there in the room you're sitting in. You don't need to go anywhere else or do anything different.
That message feels more important than ever.
Yes, dear.
Because one of my friends said we live in Olympic levels of distraction.
Yes.
And
We
I've
do.
used that so much. It's
Yes,
so
dear.
true. We are in
It
Olympic
is true.
levels of distraction.
But Paris, dear, we have to, a very important part of this, of deepening our realization, is to recognize the impediment, how we have to recognize the layers and layers of well, we can use a modern word like conditioning, habitual absence, habitual not paying attention that obstruct our progress. And these will probably take is a lifetime progress for us to go on recognizing layer upon layer upon layer of these of sin, to use that word, that prevent us seeing the glory all around us. We've all got them. There's no use pretending we haven't.
Mm.
So it takes years and years of work. Unless you're one in a million of those lucky souls that somehow get taken through it. But most of us, it's a lifetime of hard graft, hard work. I know no quick fix. And that's why, probably some of you know, because I 26, I started to meditate, and I try to practice twice a day ever since. And what is meditation? Or meditation is really, it's just this, it's that. It's letting go. Just like a balloon is held to the earth by weights. When you let go, you have a mantra or something to help you let go. And so you may gradually loosen the impediments that prevent us seeing what is. How beautifully you're coming back to this stillness. It's lovely. So natural, isn't it, when we do it? And then you realize that these words are secondary, aren't they? You probably forget about them, but this is the real teacher. This is the primary. This. Or the beginnings of this. And this, of course, is infinite. It has no end. So from glory to glory. And the rest of your lives you can go deeper and deeper and deeper without end. And how can we best serve? Well, maybe this. I know you've got children, Nova, haven't you?
Mm.
Well, anyway, all of us, in whatever branch of life, whether we've got children or whatever our work is, how can we serve it? How can we serve what we love? Well, by doing this.
By showing them the stillness. By showing them the stillness.
Well, exactly, dear, by
making enough time for the stillness.
yes, darling, that's right.
And things have to drop.
Yeah, this has to drop.
Holding us.
Exactly.
And it's a fine balance between a modern life and the stillness. And you have to navigate it. You have to navigate that balance. And things have to go that aren't serving your family. doing the after school clubs, you know, instead of having 5 every night, have 1, have 2, make sure you have your dinners together, have still, you know, it's finding that quiet in a modern life. And as a mother, meditating by breathing, conscious breathing throughout the day. You get up, you connect, you get out of bed, and you go. You cook the breakfast, breathing. And when you open the channels up to tapping in, just a mere breath can pull that feeling of connection back into the body. And it's real, and it's tangible, and it's present, and you're alive. And it's unconditional love beyond anything. Anything. And it's hard, but it's there. Always there. Always. Stay for the stillness.
Amen, my dear. May I just introduce a little comment? Because that word have to, you know, let's come back to this unconditional love, Dave. This is, we're talking about the same thing, because if you just start off, for example, with silence, stillness, space, peace, freedom, presence, love, spirit, where does one end and the other begin? Or are they all actually one a continuation of the other? And just amongst us now, I mean, we cannot not feel this love, can we? It just is here. It's not my doing. It's just here, isn't it? Holding us. The everlasting arms. And in that, and this freedom, there's absolutely no compulsion, is there? There's no, you must do this, or you have to do that, because everything happens naturally, doesn't it? As Jesus says, seek first the kingdom of God, and all else will be added unto you. And the best things in life happen like this. We don't have to control things. It happens naturally, doesn't it?
Makes, when you're talking, it just makes me think of, you know, when we forget, it's just a process that actually brings us back. And then in that remembering, it's right. That realization of what we are. And if we didn't have that swinging back and forth, then maybe we would never realize.
That's right. We learn from our mistakes, don't we? By getting it wrong. And then, God willing, we get the message. Try a little harder. Yes. Oh, bless you, my dears. Thank you. Where did it come from? How does it happen? How does it happen? God knows. I don't.
I feel almost like when you expand your consciousness, when you start to meditate, when you are what I would say conditioned as a human, and your psyche, your awareness is almost inside your body, and inside. I remember always as a child feeling that I was here. I operated from here, almost looking out. This was me. My brain was me. And I found that through meditation, And through a feeling of expansion, my awareness almost now feels, when I breathe, I can expand my awareness into a one consciousness. Like I can breathe out and my awareness is wider almost. I'm not in that box. And I think when I was a child, I was always looking for freedom. I always felt caged. And now that feeling, it's almost like you can expand your awareness through the breath whilst awake, whilst not meditating, whilst with a sense of freedom, with a sense of knowing and safety.
Well, indeed, yeah. But there are many ways in which it can happen, many, many ways in which it can happen. Often quite unexpected. It just happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Suddenly it's just like waking up.
Yeah.
And yes, indeed, this is the human condition in little boxes. You only got to go into a town or look in the street and just observe people. You can see it. Well, most of the time we ourselves live in a little box, don't we? We forget. And function as though like a sort of a robot, or, saying the same sort of things over and over. Just, we're quite robotic, really. A lot of human life, governed and interacting as sleepwalkers. Hardly anybody's actually alive, really. I don't quite know we'd probably explode if we were really alive. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I have exploded a few times. I do. I think that once you taste that expanded awareness, where almost you can see what's going on with clarity. You can see why a person is doing that, whereas the group is seeing it. Oh, well, they shouldn't be doing that. But then you can see why they're doing it, why they're thinking they shouldn't be doing it. It gives you so much clarity.
Indeed, yeah. Indeed, exactly.
And compassion. And then when you sink back down and you realise and you feel like treacle, maybe because the kids are, not doing the homework, or when you feel that treacle coming back in, if you breathe and recognise, I think if you can keep observing, keep to your higher self, keep to that and the essence, the soul, and constantly observing, I think, aware of yourself, self-awareness, aware when you feel stuck. I think you can operate on many levels of consciousness. The art is not to get stuck on any. And that's how you navigate life, I think.
Oh, keep going, dear. Keep going. Keep going. You've seen a lot. You've seen a lot, my dear. You're a very fortunate, blessed person, blessed soul. Keep going and find out, discover yet more.
And keep going.
Keep struggle on, dear.
Yeah.
Keep going. Keep practicing. Good luck to you. Good bless you.
Thank you.
You going home tomorrow, are you?
Yeah.
Well.
But I'll never forget your words. When you think you've found it, go beyond.
Yeah, keep going beyond, dear. Nobody's got it, dear.
No, nobody.
We're all pilgrims in this life. Yeah. We're all on the journey.
And then
however much you think you've got, there's always a beyond.
And then that gives an excitement to life.
Absolutely, dear.
Doesn't it? The
Absolute.
simplest things.
The adventure never ends.
Yeah.
Look at me, dear.
To infinity and beyond.
I'm just a little boy, dear, in a grey beard at the start of the great adventure.
I know, it's amazing.
I've just been in primary school, and I think I'm with a bit of luck, I'll graduate into high school now.
Yeah.
And where does it end?
And I think if you can keep that perspective on life, then you can almost sit behind the chaos, the worst things and the best things. You can, oh, that was an experience. Oh, you know.
Well, I won't say there are not many tears along the way, my dear.
Yeah.
Jesus suffered, and so should we. It's part of it, isn't it? We've got to bear one another's burdens, you know. Here am I using the word got to, I'm sorry, but these are Jesus' own words, I think, aren't they? Bear one another's burdens. So this is part of the work, see. If you're blessed with higher life, then don't forget about the others. So we're here to help one another. And it's by learning to be, learning about freedom yourself that you're then more able to help others to freedom, you see.
But what if the person who you can see needs a help isn't willing to help
Oh, well,
themselves?
you can't do much about that, dear. But you see, the Spirit, dear, the Spirit works invisibly behind the scenes, and it enters hearts that we don't know about, dear. You don't have to actually physically do anything. You don't have to, hammer it into people. True love works subtly. It works like spirit, invisibly, and enters every heart whether they realize it or not. It's like the spring, dear. When the sun comes, it touches everything, doesn't it? The whole world responds. So this is prayer.
Yeah.
This is what prayer really is. Prayer are the ripples that coming out, that flow out, that know no end, you see. And the purer your own heart, then this purity will touch all around you. You don't have to open your mouth. You can do it in secret. Nobody knows what you're doing. That's how the great men of prayer have worked.
What's your favourite prayer?
Silence, darling.
After silence?
More silence. Well, what indeed. I know. Into thy hands, O Lord. The last words of Jesus before he died. Into thy hands, O Lord. Thy will be done. Yes, that's it. Marvelous, and immediately you know he's in the safest of all hands. The true author of life, the creator and redeemer of all things, the Saviour. And without that, again as Jesus says, without me, ye can do